And hello there, Charlotte Weather Ranger here. It's about 8:54 p.m. here on the East Coast, August 29th, 2016. I'm meteorologist Mike Griffith. Good to have you in on the discussion. Let's talk some tropics here. And in the next video, what I'm going to do is do basically more of a general U.S. Forecast as far as what we can expect on the homeland for temperature and maybe even some climate discussions a little bit after that. We'll see what the night holds here. Anyway, we have Tropical Depression 8 right there, Tropical Depression 9 right down here. Neither one of these two tropical depressions, right here or right here, are looking very healthy at all. Right down here is 9, and right down here is 8, which is supposed to affect the Outer Banks and then move out to sea, kind of the northeast. But I'll tell you what, though, this thing isn't really looking too healthy at all right here. I mean, this was a shot from earlier. But I don't see anything happening over here as far as development. Down here we have tropical depression number 8 or 9, I should say. It was in West 99L. This thing chugged through the Caribbean and just barely hung on, and it's just starting to ramp up again with some very warm sea surface temperatures here in the Gulf of Mexico. What this is going to do is going to become a tropical storm, maybe a Cat 1 hurricane, minimum 74 miles per hour winds possible as it makes landfall here into the Florida Panhandle. We believe that this trough is probably over the eastern. It's going to join up with this the remnants of whatever this tropical depression 8 is going to be, and they're just going to both form a big low and kind of eventually scoot off east over the ocean, but not before dumping a lot of water and a lot of rain here. These guys are just going to come together and make a big rain event right across here. South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, obviously with the hurricane, strong tropical storm, borderline making landfall here. Tropical 8, not even too concerned about that at all. Might not even be much to talk about at this point. I do want to show you something of interest that we're going to have to watch, especially later this week into next week, a week from now maybe. Yes. Your suspicions are correct. Let's go there. Okay, don't you love the whole satellite picture across the entire northern hemisphere? Imagine the equator kind of goes around like this, although these are squared off because of the image. This is the whole top half of the Earth right here. And except for the equator, some southern parts of the equator, you don't see the South Pole or anything like that. That's the bottom half. Anyway, look at this. Our concern, who's Gaston here in the Atlantic, big whoop. You know, he's just going to kind of float there and eventually get caught up into the winds of the Arctic Sea, where it clashes with the mid latitudes. Anyway, this is just going to move away, and what we're watching is look at the waves coming, the tropical waves coming in. Look at this. There's one right there. There's one right here. And right here is Tropical Depression 9 that will make landfall into Florida, probably the bigger news. There's 2 hurricanes here out in the Pacific, and actually there's a hurricane warning out for Hawaii right now. So if you want to watch this a little bit later, so Hawaii could get raked over the coals here. They're going to have to watch out for one of these hurricanes that are due to make landfall up there pretty quickly. You can see the lower level clouds here moving more in a clockwise fashion. That would indicate some kind of ridging up here, which would keep these hurricanes to the south. So it's like a loaded shotgun right now looking at down the barrel at Hawaii. So we got to watch out for them as well. But the big news is coming off of Africa here. And it's just going to pretty much, once it hits this decent shear freeze zone or low shear, high shear, I don't know what kind of shear. Don't judge me. But once it hits the warmer sea surface temperatures, it will intensify. Look how strong this wave is compared to these guys right here. You know, these are going to have a hard time surviving. Likely there's a lot of subsidence over the Atlantic right now is what I heard. So it'll have a hard time to absolutely blow up. But I did want to show you on our beloved GFS here at home. There's Gaston right there out in the Atlantic. And here, watch west coast of Africa right here. This is the Atlantic Basin. There's the Lesser Antilles, Bahamas. And watch this wave. Here it comes right here off of Western Africa. Nice clouds on IR satellite. And then look at that. It just kind of moves its way across the Western Atlantic at 1,013 1010, 1011. It doesn't have the pressure dropping too well, which tells me it's not going to intensify too much. At least the GFS doesn't expect it to intensify too much. But once it starts moving away from Cuba and towards the U.S., it intensifies below 1,000 millibars, which is actually cause for concern. Let's take it to the southeast U.S. here and look at this potential threat that this model has been holding on to since the 384th hour. I posted some stuff on Facebook and I got some a little bit of flack saying, yeah, this has about as much chance verifying as throwing darts at a target a half mile away. Okay. It's not going to, and he is correct. It's not going to be exactly where the storm's going to go. It's going to be incorrect. It's going to be off, but you get some kind of idea. Sometimes you can see if it's consistent from run to run, and that way you can see what it's going to do. This is around September 8th, and that's kind of a little bit of a disturbing view right there, as this GFS is suggesting that whatever named storm that would be is going to make landfall. But the models have been overdoing the storms a lot recently. So it's like, do we buy this or don't we? Is it two small ones and then a big one? Is that the pattern, or is it just all small ones? So if we look at wind speeds near the surface around landfall, I mean, there's some purple here. If you look over our color scale, it's anywhere from 64, 80, maybe up into the 90 range. So it'd be a pretty strong hurricane. But this is not an exact location where it could strike. It could strike anywhere in here, is what I'm thinking is the landfall region of this guy. I mean, this is just one model run, the GFS, okay? So we have coastline up here, all the way down to Florida. Yeah, sure, all the Keys and the Everglades, you know, up through here. And this is where the strike is going to happen. Okay, somewhere in there. We got to keep an eye out for this around the 8th. 6th to the 11th, I think, is the rule right now. So we got to watch. 6th to the 11th is the date. Let me know your comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep it cordial. Keep it polite. Any types of comments that are deemed over the edge will not be responded to. But thank you very much for watching. This is Charlotte Weather Ranger. Give our page a like on Facebook. It's just type in Charlotte Weather Ranger at the top, and then I believe it'll pop right down. Have a great one.